If you are moving to Merida, Mexico because it's cheap, stay where you're at. Hi, I'm Bella Kitty, and I am back with another YouTube video about my life here in Merida, Mexico. One thing that I am often asked or talked to about is the cost of living here in Merida. And while the cost of living here is lower than it is in the United States, that is not the driving factor for why I live in Merida. There are places cheaper than Merida in other parts of Mexico, as well as in the United States. I could move to a small town in Arkansas, where I'm from, and I could live probably for the same, if not less, for the cost of living every month. So moving to Merida is not the cost of living is not the only reason why I moved to Merida. So I want to talk to all those people who may see my viral TikTok where I discuss the cost of living. And I very specifically say it is one of the reasons why. Yes, it is one of the reasons why I moved to Merida, Mexico, but it is definitely not my number one reason for why I moved to Merida. So I want to talk about some of the reasons why you should want to move to Merida besides it just being cheap. Because if you just move because it's cheap, honestly, you could get here and be miserable. You could get here and literally hate life. One of the things I see a lot of expats move to Merida, Mexico, other places. I'm in a couple different groups, and they'll say, "Oh, they need to be English speaking." English speaking. Now imagine in the US, if somebody says, "Oh, I only go to a doctor that speaks Spanish," or "I only go to," people would lose their minds, right? Like, people here looking for schools for their kids that speaks English only. And I'm like, how could you move to another country and want your kid to learn the native language as like an elective or something? Like, I just don't understand it. If you're in someone else's country, be a guest, not a dictator. Be a gracious guest, not just that rude auntie that comes over and like just disrespects your house. Be like a genuine guest when you're in another country. And ways that you can do that is being open minded. Like, I notice a lot of people, I say those that make the move, but they're questioning about moving. They're worried about all the negative things and the what ifs and the what ifs and the what ifs. And I'm like, so what's your reason for wanting to move? And then they'll be like, oh, because it's cheaper there. All right, move to Alabama, move to Mississippi. You have options. You have options in the US. You don't want those options, but you have options. So if your biggest concern is because you just want to bring your mindset, your small-minded mindset and mentality from the US to Mexico, stay where you're at. Please stay. Stay where you're at. Because if you don't have a positive mindset about the challenges that you're going to face, yes, the language barrier can be a bit of a challenge. Work at it every day. Every day, work at learning more words, learning, the what your way around town, learning how things operate, learning the culture. Here in Mexico is a more masculine culture. So there are certain things like when I'm out and about, I'm often asked, "Oh, where's your husband?" When I go to Home Depot for plants or things like that for my gardener, "Oh, where's your husband?" I'm always like, "Oh, he sleep." I tell everybody like I have the sleepiest husband, right? Because there's just this type of thing with men that I observe, that if you have a husband, if there's this expected husband, there's a different way that they treat you versus if you don't have one. And also, another thing is just understanding like timelines here, right? We always say color people time for the black folks. If you know what color people time, you know what color people time is. It means if the party starts at 1 o'clock, no one's going to be there at 1 o'clock, except for a few people who are the early attendees. They get there early. You're probably going to be responsible for helping set up and stuff. But I mean, there's real color people time, Mexican people got melanin in their skin. I guess that gives them beat. So if something is supposed to happen at 1 o'clock, don't be surprised if no one shows up to 1:30. It's normal. That's part of the culture. So if you get here and you expect, oh, a 1 o'clock appointment is like a 1 o'clock appointment, how dare they? Da, 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 da. Okay, that's a cultural acceptance here. It's like the cable man. When Time Warner say you're gonna come, they come between 12 and 4, and they show up at 4:15. Nobody gets mad at Time Warner, so don't get mad when you're here. The other thing is like, yes, I'm a proud black woman, and I have a beautiful melanin community here that I just truly, truly, truly love. However, I did not come here because of that. That was not the reason why I came here. And in addition to that, I don't need to live with them right next door to me, across the street from me, patronizing them. That's not why I came here. If I wanted to do that, I would, look up somewhere in Mississippi. I'm pretty sure there's a town that's like 98% African Americans. I would have went there. If that's exactly what I wanted, I would have went there. But I moved here to be immersed in the culture. So moving abroad, I don't. Yeah, I love having people I can relate to. Hair products. Just life in general. Going through the struggles, still decompressing from everything that's going on in the United States. That is amazing. However, you cannot move to another country and expect to end up, in a Baldwin Hills of Merida, Mexico. It's not gonna happen. And trying to make that happen is rude and disrespectful. Don't do it, okay? The other thing is your mental health. Moving abroad for me is something that makes my soul happy. It makes my spirit happy, honey. I have always wanted to do it. I am living a dream. I got my little tiny best friend with me doing it, and I'm happy. And for me mentally, that stimulates me and it makes me happy. However, if you try to move to Mexico or anywhere else and try, even if you move from Georgia to Memphis, Tennessee, and you don't fix your mental health, you don't work to build your mental health, your mental health toolbox before you move abroad, you're just gonna take that with you. And then if you're moving just because it's cheap, then you get there and you'll have cheaper stuff, but you'll still be struggling with the stuff internally. So even if you are a frugal Scrooge, I'm a little tight with a dollar. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little tight with a dollar. You're still not gonna be mentally happy because you haven't dealt with what you need to deal with in order to live a healthy and sustainable life. Okay. And another thing is like the music, right? I'm in like different WhatsApp groups or whatnot, and someone's like, "Oh, what type of music do they play there? Oh, I'm tired of listening to this type of music. Or I'm tired of this." Listen, you listen to the music of the area you're going to. Okay, you end up somewhere and they listen to country and reggaeton. That's what you're gonna get, country and reggaeton. Okay, you gonna hear Cardi B and Nicki and Megan and Offset and them. If you want to hear that, play it at your house. Okay, don't get mad because you go out and they're not playing, Taylor Swift when you get there. That's not their culture. That's American music. There's no guarantee they're gonna play it. Now, my gym, I discovered on Fridays, and I don't typically work out on Fridays, but I worked out Friday before last. And on Fridays, they played American music, and it was jamming, honey. It was popping. I was like, oh, okay. I'm still not about to change my off day. Friday is my off day. Friday is still my off day. I go every other day. Friday is my off day. I'm not about to change it because they play American music. I do appreciate when I'm listening to songs and I pick up on more phrases and more words. That makes me feel good. Get immersed. Stop running away from the languages and running away from the culture and think you're just gonna live somewhere because it's cheaper. I mean, that's why there's this whole argument with people moving to Mexico and they're gentrifying Mexico. Now they're blaming it on the Americans. That ain't. I'm not here to say that. I'm just saying there's more Canadians here than there's Americans. But they ain't here to start no beef. I'm just saying. When you move somewhere, just be cautious, be mindful, be culturally aware, be a guest in that country and not a dictator. That's all I'm saying. Because if you moving because it's cheap, stay where the hell you at. Don't come here. I am Bella Kitty. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. And I do my best to respond to all positive comments. Until the next one, bye.